Hello, my name is Hakon, and welcome back to another episode of Starship Traveler, the fighting fantasy game book number 4, and the first science fiction one, and the most Star Trekky one. And I just realized 2 seconds ago why I've not been doing well the last few times. I was wearing a red shirt. Star Trek, red shirt. It was bound to go wrong. So today I'm wearing purple. I should have had blue, I suppose, but hopefully that will help make me find my way back to my own universe and back to Earth, away from this parallel existence that we are dragged into against our will at the beginning of the book. So, I've also got my tea, my Earl Grey hot. A little bit too hot right now. And also there was somebody commenting on my video. Actually, I did say something about this in the previous video, how I was going to make a video about how to make the perfect cup of Earl Grey. Because it is different to normal tea, it has to be brewed in a different way to be good. And somebody commented and they were actually looking forward to that. So now I have to make one, and I have been planning for that, so it will be coming up soon. But I want to make it a good production value video. I don't want to just do a hodgepodge thing. So I'm going to do it properly, and I hope whoever is waiting for that is able to be a little bit patient and wait until I'm actually done doing that. So yes, without any much further ado, I'm going to say a few things before I get started. Now, as you know, I've been playing this book a few times now, and it hasn't gone all that well. I have a few ideas for where to go on the map, where there's something that can be explored, where I haven't been. Because just looking at the number of paragraphs that I've mapped out, it's about half the book, so there's still quite a bit left. And although I'm sure there's, of course, many of the paragraphs that I haven't seen are nearby the ones I have seen, but still, I think that I have managed to locate a few places on my map where there's other ways to go that probably is more likely to have what I need. What you need to get through this game is to find the location of a black hole, or the correct black hole, because it has to be one that connects to your parallel universe where you came from, and you have to find the right time for it to be in connection with that parallel universe. So there's two variables that you need to find, and there are some red herrings here, obviously. The first time I found coordinates for both the location and then I found a time as well. Those were the only two numbers I had, and of course those were wrong. So one or both of those were red herrings and not correct numbers. So I will keep going, and hopefully this time, not wearing a red shirt, I will stand a better chance of getting through this in one piece. And I still have this theory that this game is, because there are very, very few fights in this game, there are very few skill checks, there are very few luck rolls, and I'm going to say a lot about skill checks and luck rolls when I get to my Aftermath episode, because I have noticed something interesting about those, but I'll not say anything about that at the time, not right now. And I think that if you know the right path through this book, you don't have to make any rolls, is my theory. I think it should be possible to, if you know the right path, to get through this game without doing any fighting or skill checks, because almost everything seems possible to bypass in some way or other if you make the right decisions, or the ones I've encountered so far. And there are very few battles. I've sort of had one battle each game now. So I think that this may be the easiest book to win, in the sense that once you know the right path, it's just going straight through. And the big challenge is finding the right path, which I quite like. It's it makes for a slightly different. It's more a sort of choose your own adventure. It's, well, more like a sort of what do you call it again, interactive fiction than a game book in that sense. Maybe it's more like that. Anyway, I'll get started, and so I'll get everything ready on my desk, and I'll see you in a few moments. Right, so here we are. Let's see, I just need to move my windows on my screen so I can see both my camera feeds now. So I got my supplies ready, as I usually like calling them. I got my book, most importantly. I got my pens, pencil, dice, which I hopefully won't be needing too much, according to my theory. And that's an old character sheet. I don't need that anymore. Oh, I was just writing out a new character sheet, and then my tea was ready, so I got a bit distracted. Yummy. Okay, so nothing else is actually... Yes, those are all my officers. So it just remains for me to have a little... to roll and see what my stats are. And... maybe, just maybe, these stats aren't so important if you make the right decisions. Ship weapon strength. Okay, so that's 9. Ship shields, that was the 2 dice plus... I forget, because it's different. It's 2 dice plus 6 or 1 die plus 12. I think it's 1 die plus 12, isn't it? Yes, 1 die plus 12. Ooh, nice. Shields at maximum, so okay. Captain, that's me. Skill of 9. Stamina of 21. Science officer, skill of 9. Stamina of... ooh. Medical officer, skill of 12. Stamina 17. Security officer, skill of... ooh, the security officer has always had really good skill in my roles before, so he is a bit useless now. Engineering officer, skill of 10, and stamina of 22. Security guard, 8. 19, and security guard 12. Finally someone who can fight. 9, so that's 21. It looks like I need to avoid combat in this one. Right. I'll still need to leave the dice around here. I might need them. You never know. Okay. So, oh, my sound recorder is angled the wrong way. I was actually angling it a different way so I could see the battery levels, because I've been using it so many times now, and I'm still on my first pair of batteries, and I've been wondering sort of how long do they last. My old sound recorder, it was eating batteries for breakfast, lunch and dinner. So you put in new batteries, you start recording, a few minutes later it says low battery warning. And this one I'm sort of worried that it'll just suddenly die on me, but still no low battery warning, so it just keeps going. It's amazing. And it sounds better as well. Perhaps it takes more batteries to sound bad, I don't know. Well, the other one didn't sound bad, it was just noisier. So anyway, let's get started. So, camera in the right place? Yeah. Leaning down like this? Yeah, that looks okay. Right. Oh, I was supposed to, because I was doing my, sure my lighting was okay. Yeah, I think that's okay. Doesn't make a big difference. I got an extra light on my face here now. Actually, this one should be more over here. Okay. Or should it? Maybe that is better. Okay. I still haven't sort of settled on a permanent lighting system here. And of course I can't keep permanent cameras in position either, so it's a little bit different every time. Isn't that nice? Okay. And so it begins. Panic. From your seat at the helm of the Starship Traveler, you study the VDU anxiously. Engineering section has reported an overdrive malfunction which has locked the warp engine at a 10% velocity gain. You are watching the velocity indicator advancing rapidly through the safe region towards overload. You hit the communicator button and call engineering for further news. It is not good. The malfunction cannot be traced, and it will take another 13 minutes for a system check to provide a full analysis. You are heading towards the Celsian void, a known black hole. You may or may not avoid it, but your science officer has another plan. If you swing the ship through its immense gravitational pull, its gravity drag may help reduce your speed as you travel away from it. It's not the navigational officer's job to find out. Well, yeah, never mind. This is worth a try, but the navigational tuning will have to be precise. You swing the Starship hard to starboard as you enter the Celsian's gravitational field and fasten your eyes on the velocity indicator. To your great relief, the plan seems to be working. The gain comes down from 10% to 5% to 0 to minus 5%. Loud cheers come from the crew, but you are still watching the velocity indicator. It is now showing minus 15%, then minus 25%, and still falling. The ship is being sucked into the Celsian void. You hit the red alert button and instruct all ship's personnel to strap themselves down. Also, one should make sure to secure one's cups of tea, of course. The ship begins to whine and shake as it rapidly accelerates towards the black hole. There is nothing you can do to avert the impending disaster. Sniffly again today? Oh well. An almighty explosion rocks the ship and all the crew, including you, lose consciousness. Turn to 256. I think it's the the heat of the tea is just dislodging the mucus in my nose. So even if there isn't much here, it sort of feels like I'm sniffly. Anyway, still worth it though. It's nice with a cup of tea. You and the other members of the crew are regaining consciousness. Again, you hit the communicator and call for systems damage reports. Yes, sorry, I just double-checked my videos were rolling there. It's been a few times that it hasn't. All systems appear to be intact, until engineering reports that the warp drive engines are dead. You are floating in space. But your drive reactor should be operational in 20 to 30 minutes. Your navigation officer is bewildered. He cannot identify your whereabouts, and the computer reports you are in uncharted space. Your science officer has run an event analysis, and you appear to have gone through the black hole, through a dimension warp, and you are now in what seems to be a parallel universe. After some delay, you regain warp drive. Long-range scan indicates 3 solar systems ahead, of which 2 may have intelligent life. So I can go ahead to port or to starboard, and actually there aren't that many references to port and starboard in the rest of the book, but right here in the beginning it is. Now, I've been thinking, because I've been through all of these now, and I'm sort of a bit unsure which is the least risky. If you go to starboard, you end up in an asteroid field, and also you run out of dilithium. I mean, that seems to be the only time you run out of dilithium. So it just means that you're given an extra hazard for getting to the same place that you could get in other ways. And I can't remember for sure now whether you get to the asteroids. And also there was a few other options I was wondering about in the... So I'm going to go to port, actually. Even though that doesn't... I mean, that's what I've done the most times now, and it hasn't seemed to give me much. But I just have a small... something I was actually a bit curious about checking out. So I'll just get to that. And of course, if that fails and I die there, then that's fine. I'll just start over and I'll do something else. Not wearing a red shirt. So I'm going to turn to port. I'm going to 273. Yeah. You travel ahead at sub-warp speed to allow your sensors to scan through information. They pick up a small object several thousand kilometers ahead and traveling towards you. You continue cautiously. At 5 kilometers it stops, and you do likewise. Sensors report a Class D Star Cruiser and you prepare yourself with shields up. 5 kilometers, that is really close. I mean, this is in space, so obviously it's ridiculously close, but even if you're at sea, on Earth, 5 kilometers, that's well within engagement range, so you would stop long before that, if you're not sure what's coming your way. Anyway. At 5 kilometers it stops and you do likewise. Sensors report a Class D Star Cruiser and you prepare yourself with shields up. A message comes in and you transfer it to the screen. A reptilian face, that's this gentleman here, appears in the uniform of authority. As your translator tunes in, the alien's message becomes clear. I am Commander... Well, I suppose it might seem clear, but if you use Google Translate, it might be wrong and you might make the wrong decisions based on it. I am Commander Mktel of the Imperial Ganzi Confederation. You are a non-registered ship trespassing within Imperial territory. Identify yourself and state your purpose. What will your reply be? Identify yourself as he wishes. Run an info scan on the Imperial Ganzi Confederation or open fire. So I know that if I run an info scan, he gets impatient and they do a warning shot. If I open fire, of course, then it's a battle. I still think that there will be no problems just doing what they want for now. So I'm going to go and identify myself as he wishes and see what happens next. So you explain to the commander who you are and how you came to be in his territory. He is suspicious. He claims you as a prisoner and says he will escort you back to his starbase where your story can be considered by his superiors. He instructs you to prepare your transmatter unit to receive his first officer who will accompany you. Will you comply with his wishes or switch off the screen and activate phases? So I'm not going to go into battle now, so I'm going to comply with his wishes and go to 168. There we go. You leave the bridge and await the arrival of the Ganzigite in the transmatter unit. Within minutes, a body begins to materialize. The brown, scaly body of the reptilian being takes shape in front of you. You move forward to welcome the new arrival, but the creature snarls at you and draws a weapon. Through your translator, the Ganzigite commands you to lead him straight to the computer room. Your ship is following the alien star cruiser through space. You are a little suspicious of this intruder. Will you take him to the computer room as he wishes? Attempt to sidetrack him by taking him to a lower deck or leap on him and try to overpower him. So, one thing I haven't tried before actually, and I was a bit curious to see what happens, is to attempt to sidetrack him. I sort of can't see what the harm is in that. So I'm going to... because I've played so much now, so I've seen most of the things going on, so just... I like to fill in the blanks a little bit as well. So I'm going to attempt to sidetrack him by taking him to a lower deck. Give him a bit of a sightseeing tour, I guess. Let's see, there we are. You engage the Ganzigite in a conversation and give him a conducted tour. Yes, conducted tour of the ship, stalling for time. You show him the cargo hold, shuttle dock, recreation area, and science laboratories. In the animal behavior lab, put an animal behavior lab on the Starship. The alien shrieks as it sees an eagle chained to a perch. I've got eagles on my Starship. That's kind of cool, actually. But, I mean, eagles on the Starship. I feel a bit sorry for the eagle, though. Anyway. You deduce that on the Ganzigite's world, similar creatures are deadly enemies. Will you ignore the incident and continue the tour via the computer room? Release the eagle. That sounds a bit cruel. That sounds like fun. Make use of the distraction to capture the alien. I'm going to release the eagle because it's kind of a different quirky thing going on here now. So I'm going to see what happens next. The eagles are coming. Here we are. The eagle flies from its perch and swoops down on the intruder. In abject terror, the alien swipes at the bird as it attacks. You watch the battle. For personal combat rules, turn to 342, but remember this reference so that you can return afterwards. Okay, so in this book is a bit different, which if you've seen the other episodes, all the combat rules they're not in the beginning in the rules section, but they are at the end after the last paragraph, actually, which is 340 in this case. I didn't realize right away, but there's only 340 paragraphs in this book, not 400. Excuse me. And of course, normal hand-to-hand combat rules are the same as you usually have in fighting fantasy books, but there's also rules for phaser combat and for ship-to-ship combat, neither of which seems to be used that much, but maybe that's why the rules are in the book, because you might actually get through this without using all of the rules sections for fighting. So there's no need for you to read them beforehand, I think. So it sort of makes sense. So Eagle 6.5, Ganzigard 10.10. So obviously the Ganzigard should be able to be victorious there. 10. Okay. So I'll roll for the Eagle first. He rolls 6, so that is 12. Yes, so I'll just basic fighting fantasy combat. You take the skill, you add 2 dice, you roll 2 dice for the other fighter's skill as well, and you add them together. That's 19. So the Ganzigard is the one that won that combat round, and does 2 damage to the Eagle. And deduct 2 points from the Ganzigard's skill for its fear of the Eagle. Okay, but still he did actually manage to win that combat round. As soon as the alien inflicts any damage on the Eagle... Okay, so that just happened now. Turn to 188. Okay. The alien injures the Eagle, but wails pitifully and begs you to call off the bird, which you do. Apparently, eagles are sacred to the Ganzig culture, and injuring them is a mortal sin. You command guards to take the alien to the brig. Calling up the Ganzigard Star Cruiser captain, you relate the incident, threatening the life of your captive if your ship is not freed. The alien captain agrees to your terms, realizing that he cannot harm a ship carrying sacred animals. That's a turn-up for the books, isn't it? You take your captive to the transmatter unit and send him back to his ship. You are now free to leave. Turn to 16. Okay, that's a slightly different turn of events than the last few times. That was quite an interesting little encounter there. Okay. You probe ahead into space with your long-range scanners. On the fringe of your scan radius to port is a small star with an orbiting solar system which you may head for. Otherwise, you may increase speed to warp and head off into deep space. I think I have been there before, but I'm not going to go there anyway, because that's where I get one of the... If I remember correctly, even though my map is getting a bit messy, that's where I get my... One of my... Where is it now? My coordinates that may or may not be correct, so I'm going to go there. Oh yes, here we are. As you approach the small star, your scanners pick up 2 planets in orbit. One is a large red planet, which you may approach by turning to 258. The other planet is dull blue, and you may approach it by turning to 86. So that is going to 86. Yeah. You increase speed towards the dull blue planet and start to orbit it. Short-range scanners indicate that it is a life-bearing planet. The most heavily populated area appears to be a city in the center of a large island. You may beam down into the center of the city, taking any other 3 crew members from the adventure sheet with you. So I'm going to go with my security guard 2, because he is the only one who knows how to fight. And otherwise, science officer maybe, and I'll just do security. Hang on, security. I'll just do security guard 1 as well. Yes. Let's see, where am I now? Yes. So 209. Okay. You materialize on the planet's surface and look around. You're in a wide street of some kind, which is completely deserted. Buildings of sorts line the street, and behind you a large building stands at the end of the road. The buildings are strange structures. They are a multitude of shapes and sizes, and all look incomplete. You may either continue down the road looking for signs of life, approach a large building behind you, or try one of the smaller buildings. Now, what have I done before here? Let's see if I can find out where I am now. Dull blue, 209. The only thing I've done before is go to the large building. So I was thinking maybe I should continue down the road looking for signs of life. Let's just see if there's something else going on here, because I just seen a little bit of it, maybe. You cautiously continue down the road with phaser set on stun. You begin to hear... Oh, just hold that a little bit. Okay, there we go. You begin to hear quiet chatter coming from one or two other buildings, and a peculiar face appears at a window. You're unsure whether the creature has intelligence or not, and as you debate whether to approach that building, a noise behind you makes you all swing round. A tall, spindly creature some 3 meters high has approached you. It has 6 spider-like legs, and its long neck holds its head well above you. It speaks to you, and your translator gives its message as, "Hello, friends. You are not at all welcome in the avenue of the committee. You must leave immediately. Can I offer you warmth and a drink?" Okay, he's a bit... Now that's what happens when you use Google Translate. Okay. This strange message leaves you puzzled. You announce who you are, where you are from, and insist that you mean no harm. The alien is not in the least bit interested and has begun to shiver. Will you accept its hospitality, turn to 177, or leave it and head for one of the other buildings? I'm gonna this, I don't know, it seems like an interesting creature, so I'm gonna see what it has to offer me. So I'm gonna go to 177. The strange creature turns and beckons you to follow. Bobbing up and down on its thin legs, it leads you across the road towards a building seemingly made of some kind of clay. Several meters from its door, another alien, this time a small furry one with at least 12 legs, darts from the building and next door and stops the tall creature for a brief chat. The 2 aliens appear to be laughing heartily at some joke, but then the small one springs at the other's legs and bites one off. Your escort slumps to the ground in pain. You are horrified. You may use your phaser to stun the attacker, or you may rush to the aid of the fallen creature. I'm just going to rush to the aid of the fallen creature, actually. That's a bit weird. Okay. The wounded creature heaves itself to its feet. It looks at you strangely and cannot understand your concern. Swaying forwards, it leads you into the building. Inside is chaos, with broken furniture and scraps of food lying all over the place. The alien slumps down on a bench and concentrates. Slowly, another leg grows out from the previous stump, and in no time the wound is repaired. Okay. You question the creature, but it appears to have little intelligence. It is a Kroll. It knows nothing of space travel and black holes. It advises you to visit a T-mole who lives several buildings away and is perhaps the most intelligent being in these parts. You thank him and leave. Will you head for the T-mole, or will you investigate a large building? So, did I see the T-mole before? 231. I was something I was... Just give me 2 seconds. Something I wanted to check. Okay, so I suppose I should check out this T-mole. So 231. You arrive at an odd-shaped building with rounded walls. Several strange and apparently meaningless sticks protrude from the front walls. The door is open and you cautiously walk inside. Slumped over a table is a bulky figure. Apparently asleep. Your entrance disturbs the creature and it raises its head, sees you and springs to its foot. Rather than legs, it has a single stump, something like a tree trunk. It bellows loudly and your translator does not translate. Will you hold your hands up to show you mean no harm? And draw your faces and shoot? Well, I can hold my hands up and show I mean no harm. It doesn't seem like a dangerous creature either, so... 42, yeah. The creature settles down. It was apparently just surprised at having been woken from its sleep by complete strangers. And such ugly ones at that. Well, we've got 2 feet, don't we? So it explains that it is a T-mole and seems to be quite a friendly creature. It hops around the room and offers you food and drink, which you politely decline. This planet is a settlement planet populated by all sorts of different aliens. At first, mainly creatures who could not bear their own home planets and those that are highly adventurous. As the planet proved to be a pleasant place to live, with a gentle climate, it was not long before word spread throughout the galaxy of this promised land of freedom and equality, attracting many more settlers. The problem was that no one was allowed to assume a position of responsibility. Everyone was entirely equal. The result is that, after many years of settlement, the place is in utter chaos. Its inhabitants have not even decided on a name for the planet. You explain your own predicament to the T-mole, how you are lost in a universe parallel to your own. The creature knows little about astronomy and interstellar travel, but suggests you head for the planet Hulmatter, as its civilization is very advanced. You thank him for his information and leave. You may, if you wish, head for the main building at the end of the road, or you may return. So I'm going to go for the main building now, because that's where I found the coordinates that I found previously. Isn't it? Or am I remembering it wrong now? I think that's where it was, wasn't it? My map is such a mess, I can't be sure now, but I think it's somewhere here. Anyway, I was at the other place that I got to next. It might have been the next planet, you know. Oh well, anyway, I'll just get through this thing then. Steps lead up to the large building. An inscription on the door indicates that it is a building of some importance. You knock, but there is no reply, although you can hear excited chatter coming from within. You try the door, it opens, and you step into a large entrance hallway. Several pairs of aliens of a variety of shapes and sizes cross the corridor in front of you, travelling purposefully from room to room and arguing excitedly with each other. A mysterious creature dressed in shabby blue robes notices you and shuffles over. His face cannot be seen, but his eyes shine bright blue at you. It speaks, and your translator interprets. Ah, you look interesting. Where do you think the new medicine house should go? You explain that you are new to these parts and that you would like to meet some person of authority. That's a bit of a laugh, isn't it? The alien laughs. No one has authority here, my friend. We are all equal. Come, let me show you around. He offers to take you to the main meeting hall or on the general tour. Now, I did go on the general tour previously, and I was attacked by some guards. Guards just meaning somebody who likes to attack people at random, which they're allowed to do, of course. So I'm going to go on to the meeting hall this time, because I don't know what happens there. You enter the main meeting hall and sit down in a crowded debating chamber, packed with aliens of all shapes and sizes. You ask your host, who is called Fiorel, what is going on, and he informs you that the debate is to decide where to put a new medicine house, and that it has been going on for the equivalent of a year. As there is no central stage, you ask who is talking. Everyone, says Fiorel. We believe in equality and everyone has a right to speak. Apparently debating here is unlike the method used on the Earth. Here everyone collects together and talks in little groups. As debaters move from one group to another, gradually new ideas spread throughout the whole of the chamber until everyone is thinking along the same lines. At this point, decisions get implemented. You ask whether this takes a long time, and Fiorel agrees that it does, but it is the fairest way and prevents a convincing speaker swaying the audience or establishing himself as a leader. Well, as the debate seems to be getting nowhere, you decide to leave, and Fiorel offers to take you to the travel and maps room. Otherwise, you can return to the ship. So I'm going to the travel and maps room. Yeah, I did actually remember it erroneously. This is not where I get the coordinates. Anyway, the travel and maps room is in a state of chaos. Books and charts lie all over the floor and the various tables in the room. A small withered alien with a large head, blue skin and long fingers is asleep in one corner but wakes as you enter. You ask first for maps of the planet, but can learn little from them. While you wonder whether any of the star charts will be of use, the little man finds a large map and allows you to study it. Apparently you are in a solar system around the sun. Magnus. Apart from this one, there is only one other life-bearing planet in this system called Trax, orbiting Magnus a little further out. Trax was recently devastated by war, and many of its inhabitants left to settle on this planet. The other two nearest planets, although light years away, are Kulmata, orbiting a purple sun, and McCommon, orbiting a double star. So I suppose what you learned here is that you should be going to Kulmata around the purple sun. No black holes are to be found on the chart. You thank the creature for his help and leave the building, bidding goodbye to Fiorel as you leave. Outside you beam back to the ship, turn to 290. So, okay, that's... So, I was remembering it wrongly, and I'm not sure where I'm on my map now. Where's 290? Oh. There's 290. Did I miss going somewhere now? Anyway. How do you get to 258? Oh well, never mind. Back on the bridge, you set coordinates for your next journey. Another life-bearing planet orbits the same sun a little further out, and you may visit this next. Turn to 258. Is that the one where I found the... Oh, there is 250. Oh, hang on. My map is a little bit incorrect here now, because 290 doesn't look like it's... Oh. My map is not right. That's why I'm getting a bit confused now, because this one goes to 258 as well. So 290 was a little bit off there. Okay. Or you may head further onwards towards a purple sun some light years away, which I also probably need to go to then. So I'm going to go to 258 first of all. You approach a large red planet at sublight speed and set an orbiting course. Scanning the surface, you find no trace of intelligent life, but signs of civilization, and a fairly advanced one at that, are apparent. As you observe the planet through your macro telescope, you see that the surface is covered in a network of roadways and canals, focused every so often at what must be a population center of some sort. You try various radio frequencies, but there is no response. Will you beam down onto the planet's surface? Yes, I will. I will indeed. Now this is... Now I'm sort of vaguely remembering. This is where I found the coordinates the first time. You choose a location within what ought to be one of the planet's main population centers. You select 2 crew members. Okay, so I want my security guard 2 and science officer. I don't know, it just always feels like science officer is a good one for bringing along, because there might be sciencey stuff showing up. Although I suppose if you have some kind of health emergency, the medical officer might be a good idea. Anyway, you choose a location within what ought to be one of the planet's main population centers. You select 2 crew members to accompany you to the planet's surface, and the 3 of you beam down. When you rematerialize, you are in a deserted street. There is a ghostly silence about, and something is not quite right. The buildings around you and the vehicles lying derelict by the side of the road appear to be from quite an advanced civilization, but the dust is thick on everything, as if there has been no activity here for many years. Cautiously, you walk down the street. As you approach a junction at the end of the street, you hear a noise and stop. The others look at you quizzically and listen, but they can hear nothing. You creep forwards towards a corner and jump back sharply as a shape appears. "Visitors," says a voice. The creature is roughly man-sized and wears a flowing white cape. "We have not had visitors for many years." You explain you are from another planet, and the alien nods its hairy head. You ask whether it is possible to meet someone in a position of authority, and the creature considers for a moment. Suddenly you hear a small click and a shrill buzzing noise, and the alien drops to the ground, scorched by a phaser blast from one of your party. You whirl round in disbelief. The attacker looks proudly at the dead alien, and you order your other companion to hold him. Snatching his weapon, you demand to know why he fired at the alien. "Why?" he gasps. "If I hadn't fired, he would have killed you. Did you not see the weapon in his hand aimed at you?" You certainly didn't see a weapon in the alien's hand, and neither did your other crew member. "What will you do now?" So of course I know what's going on now because I've been here before, but I think this is quite a clever encounter actually. The first time you see it, you're a little bit puzzled and you can sort of guess it, I guess, but so I'm going to let your companion off with the options are: have your trigger-happy companion sent back to the ship, no point in that. Beam the alien up to the ship to see whether anything can be done for him, and if you do that, of course, it just turns out nobody arrives on the ship. Let your companion off with a caution and continue, which is what I'm going to do. There we are. Turning the corner, you continue for several meters. A noise behind you startles you, and you stop. With a sudden chill of panic, you realize what the noise is. It is the multiple hammer sound of a pre-laser weapon. Someone or something is firing a machine gun at you. You drop to the ground and scream at your companions to do likewise, as you all lie there with bullets flying over your heads. The other 2 look at you puzzled. "Captain, why are we lying in the road?" says one of them, standing up. To your amazement, he stands in the hail of bullets, completely unharmed. Gradually the sound fades and the others help you to your feet, looking at you in a most peculiar way. A little further down the road, you come across a large building. Will you enter this building or continue down the road? Now, I still haven't gone down the road, so I'm actually a bit curious about that, and I presume that I might still be able to go back to the building to get the coordinates if I need to. I'll take my chances because I don't know what's down the road. For 325. You continue along the road. You are entering an area of some importance, judging by the nature of the buildings around you. You pass by a machine which appears to dispense newspapers. Smash it open and take a copy. You cannot understand the language, but you take it with you to give to the language lab on your return. One particularly grand-looking building looks worth a visit, and you enter. Inside, all is still, but the voice at the entrance desk asks you who you wish to see. The voice makes you jump, but it is merely an electronic receptionist machine. You decide to start at the top and work down on the assumption that the most important officers will be at the top of the building. On the 4th floor, you enter a room at which a figure sits slumped over a desk in front of a computer terminal. Cautiously, you walk up to him. As you approach, it is apparent that he has long been dead. His skin is rotten and he smells unpleasant. Well, if he'd been dead for several years, he would have decomposed completely by now, so yeah, anyway. You rock him backwards into his chair while you inspect the computer console. As you do so, his eyes flick open. The three of you spring back, on guard with faces drawn. He smiles a smile which, if it were not for his diseased condition, could almost be described as friendly. And you announce yourselves. He nods very slowly. His VDU flickers and is active, speaking to you in an electronic voice. Oh, okay, that's a bit weird. So, what, he's a robot with rotten skin? Oh well. Symbols appear on the screen which means nothing to you until you realize he is trying to help you choose a subject which he can provide information on. Immediately you ask whether he can help you get home. After some moments, the voice announces that due to the differences in atomic frequency, a space warp is likely to open up on Stardate 45. Okay, that's a new one. Okay, so the other players actually gave me a location. And this one gives me... Oh, Stardates. Give me a time. Okay. That is interesting, actually. Thanking your host for the information, you contact the ship and arrange to be beamed up at once. 10 to 130. Okay, so this means that on this planet you can either get the Stardate 45 or you can get the location sector 288 of a black hole. Okay, so you can't get both, which is interesting, which means that will still either of them or both of them or could be incorrect, but they can't both be correct. So if you can't get both pieces of information. So anyway, so I'm going back to the ship now. 130. Okay. But at least that's a new piece of information I haven't had before, so it's definitely worth considering. Even though I'm not sure how reliable, how much I would sort of trust this information, especially because of what's been happening on this planet. And yeah. Anyway, back on board, you announce your news to the crew. As the navigation officer sets the course, you remember the newspaper and pass it on to the language lab for analysis. You may set your course either for a purple star just within long-range scanner range, or a small cluster of stars some 2-3 light years off to starboard. So I presume that this is where I head for the purple star. I presume. As you travel towards your destination, your language lab reports some interesting findings from the newspaper you gave them. You have just come from the planet Prax, a fairly advanced civilization. Some years before the paper was published, a great debate occurred and two groups emerged with two schools of thought. The progressives were modern thinkers set on material progress, computerization, and a more scientific view of the future. The regressives, on the other hand, disliked the inhuman element of the progressives' world and preferred to return to basics, where people did not rely on machines. A period of Cold War ensued, until the regressives discovered that the progressives had developed a powerful hallucinatory drug. The progressives had intended to use the drug on the regressives, but when the plot was discovered, they agreed to send all stocks of the drug into space, out of the way. Something went wrong, however, and the rocket exploded in the planet's upper atmosphere, subjecting the entire planet to severe hallucinations. On the day the paper was published, its effects were just beginning to be noticed. So, yeah, everyone started hallucinating, basically. You may continue your course heading either to the purple star or a small star cluster. So, I'm going to the purple star, I think. Still. Approaching the purple star, your scanners indicate that the second planet has an atmosphere ideal for life. You drop into orbit around this planet and scan the surface. There are strong indications of intelligent activity. Indeed, it is likely that the planet's civilization is further advanced than your own. You may either beam down or press onwards. So... Hang on, I've been to the purple planet before. Did I actually find anything interesting there? Let's see, purple... Beam down. Well, hang on. Which one was the purple? Was the purple one not the one with... Okay. But there's one thing I haven't done before, and that is press onwards, actually. I'm actually going to try pressing onwards, because I'm not sure if I actually get anything useful from the purple planet. I'll try it, because it's a different to what I've done before. The thing is, if I don't make it today, I mean, despite not wearing a red shirt, I want to sort of explore some of the bits I haven't seen before, because then I'll be able to narrow down where I have to go next time again. So I'm going to go to 250 and see what happens next. The next solar system likely to contain life-bearing planets is some 2.2 light years away. You enter warp drive and head onwards, leaving hyperspace as you approach the solar system sometime later. Turn to 34. Okay. You approach a medium-sized blue-green planet and take up orbit position. Now this is blue-green planet. I've not seen a blue-green planet before. Let's make a little note on my map now, even though... so, don't forget where I've gone. Where was I now? Yes, 34. Oh, hang on. Yes, 34. Scanning the planet's surface reveals several clusters of intelligent life forms. You try to contact them, but nothing comes up on the radio. Would you beam down onto the planet to investigate, or leave orbit and continue onwards? So I'm going to beam down now. So 13. If you beam down, you may take 3 crew members from the adventure sheet with you. So I'm going to go as usual with my science officer, security guard 2, and one more person could be the medical officer. Yeah, so medical officer as well. Yes, and I'm going to 13. You land on the planet and look around. A thunderstorm is raging around you and it is pouring with rain. You are standing on rocky ground about 100 meters from what appears to be a village of some kind. 3 aliens, presumably villagers, are shuffling around about halfway to the village, but as you appear they are startled and turn to face you. They are strange, podgy creatures with long necks and stumpy legs. One of the aliens turns and waddles off back to the village at what must be a running pace. The other 2 are advancing towards you with weapons, long pointed sticks, drawn. Will you wait for them to arrive, walk towards them to meet them halfway, or make a dash for the village? I've not seen this before. I don't know, it just seems familiar now. I'm thinking if I walk towards them, to them it will appear like I'm running towards them and rushing them, and probably they'll feel threatened. If I run for the village, they'll definitely feel threatened. So if I wait for them, I suppose that is the only way to seem friendly right now. I mean, they only have sticks though, but pointy sticks, that's what's killed most people in wars. So I'm going to wait. And as you can probably hear in the background, it's lawnmower day for some people, so somebody's cutting the grass. With my new sound recorder, of course I can pick up anything of background noise. Nice but hearing people cut grass, though. It means spring is sort of around, no, not around the corner, it means spring is here, really. Let's see. You soon arrive... Oh, hang on. That's not right. 115. Ah, yes. Through your translator, you talk to them, explaining your mission. They are suspicious and hold you at bay with their weapons, but agree to take you to the village elder to talk. Turn to 170. As you enter the village area, other aliens shuffle towards you inquisitively. You are marched to a large hut in the center of the clearing to meet the village elder. You enter this hut and see a large, somewhat wrinkled alien squatting in a far corner. After you have exchanged introductions, you begin to question him. Will you ask him about the planet and its inhabitants? Or do you believe this primitive race can be of little help in your mission, but ask anyway about their knowledge of astronomy? Well, they don't look very astronomical to me. Well, I suppose I can ask again later if I ask him about... It's probably more polite to ask him about the planet and its inhabitants first, isn't it? Yeah. I'm going to ask about the planet and its inhabitants. Let's see, 291. The alien is quite a talkative creature and tells you that you are on the planet Kleba. On the surface of the planet there are many villages of similar creatures. Their stage of cultural development seems to approximate that of the Middle Ages on Earth. They are an agricultural race. The weather on the planet used to be excellent, but bad weather has ruined their crops for several seasons. The weather is controlled by someone they refer to as the Rain Lord, who lives in a fortified castle 2 hours' journey from the village. The Rain Lord is, they believe, punishing them with this bad weather. As the crops have been failing, the village has been hit by famine and disease. If you have your medical officer with you, you may offer to see what can be done for the sick. You may ask them whether they have any knowledge of astronomy, or you may offer to try to contact the Rain Lord. Well, that sort of seems quite leading, I think, to actually go and try to talk to this Rain Lord now. Also, if his castle is 2 hours away, why haven't they gone and spoken to him themselves? Weirdos. I'm a bit curious about... I'm going to go with the Rain Lord and see if I can find out what's happening. Following their directions, you head towards the hills to visit the Rain Lord's castle. After some 15 minutes walk, you see a large building in the distance, and it takes you another 15 minutes to reach it. Evidently, a walk which takes you half an hour would take the aliens 2 hours. Much longer, it says here, at their sluggish pace. You reach the gate and can see an armed guard barring the way. Will you draw your phasers and shoot at the guard, or continue up to the gate to talk to the guard? Well, I'm usually talk first, shoot later kind of person, so I'll just finish my tea there. And so I'll talk to the guard. The guard sees you and flurries into action. Raising its head in the air, it lets out a shrill whistle. Seconds later, you look up to see that you are surrounded by alien guards, all with weapons pointed at you. You decide it's best to surrender to them. Turn to 315. Maybe I should have shot him then. Anyway. But the thing is, they still haven't killed me or anything, so I'll probably be okay. You are escorted into the castle towards a central keep, apparently the nerve center of the castle. You explain that you wish to meet the Rain Lord. One of your guards goes off to the keep and comes back some moments later. Another group of guards comes over to take you inside the keep. Turn to 91. That's a lot of guards. As you enter, your eyes widen. You are not in the great hall or perhaps stateroom you had been expecting, but in a large computer complex, and I suppose that's this picture here, actually. The walls are lined with sophisticated control panels covered in gauges, dials, and indicator lights. In the center of the room, behind a large screen flanked with a number of keyboards, sits a human figure. As you approach, this figure turns round in his chair. Turn to 164. A human figure. Aha! Our intruders, chuckles the small man sitting at the controls. Perhaps they may be able to help with our little problem. The man calls himself Brancel. You introduce yourselves and tell him your story. I may be able to help, says Brancel, if you are able to help me first. It goes on to explain that many years ago he was an interstellar trader, carrying a cargo of sophisticated planet control computers to Gleaner 3 in another sector of the galaxy. His warp drive failed and he was forced into orbit around this planet. He was able to contact Gleaner 3 to explain the delay, but they would take no excuses and cancel the order. Thus, he was left with his cargo and no buyer. Facing financial ruin if he returned home, he decided to settle on the planet. Through his advanced knowledge, he was quickly hailed as a sort of god by the inhabitants, who built him a castle in which he could set up his planet control equipment. Since then, he has indeed acted as a god, and by his own account, a benevolent one at that. Why does a benevolent god on a planet like this need all these guards? But yeah. Anyway, however, some time ago he discovered a malfunction in the weather planning system, which meant that he no longer had control over the weather. As the climate was normally very damp, the years of fine weather he had provided for the benefit of the inhabitants' crops had resulted in huge reserves of rain being stored in the planet's clouds. As soon as control was lost, a torrential downpour started. If you have a knowledge of planet control systems and can help me get back control of the weather, I am sure the computer's knowledge of astronomy will be able to help you get back to your own universe, promises the little man. You decide to call in your science officer. If you do not have him with you, you may beam him down. Okay, so I've got science officer with me. If he's dead, etc., he cannot help. So I'm going to turn to 227. Throw 2 dice. If the number thrown is higher than your science officer's skill, turn to 282. If the number is equal to or less, turn to 83. So, right, so we've got skill check. Science officer skill is 9, and he rolls a 7, so that is lower, and that is 83. Your science officer takes a dump of the weather control program back to the ship to try to analyze it on the ship's computer. It has been written in a strange language, but the computer is able to give some insight into its logic patterns. Your science officer alters it slightly and runs the modified program. Within a few moments, the rain dies down. Bransell is delighted and offers to use his computer to search for a suitable black hole to transport you back to your own universe. The computer locates several such black holes. Unfortunately, it cannot distinguish between them, but it is able to tell you that you will have to travel towards it at a warp speed 3 to effect the transfer successfully. Okay, is that... I don't think I was asked anything about the speed vector when I was given the chance of going into a black hole, so I don't know if that's relevant or not. Warp speed 3, okay. I'll just make a note of it in case. But maybe the place where I was asked whether to go into the black hole or not is not the place where I'm supposed to do it, though. That is possible. Anyway, you thank Bransell for his help and beam back aboard the ship. Turn to 203. Okay, so. Okay. You leave orbit and probe with your scanners for likely destinations. Some 3.3 light years away is a large red planet which you can head towards. Turn to 126. Oh, no, that is the only option. Yes. Turn to 126. No choices. You switch to warp drive and head towards the red planet. As you reduce from warp speed, you approach a small grey planet. Will you investigate this? Or will you continue towards your original destination? Now, let's see, didn't I not find this? Now, it sort of gets to places in a roundabout way sometimes. So... what's going on with red planet again? Let's see. I'll just see if I made a note of this. Grey planet. Just a bit curious now where I'm. Great Planet. Wasn't the Great... Was that the one where I got the... yes, I remember that now. The Great Planet, that's where I had the... But I know what to do there now, so... Maybe I'll... Okay, I'll go to the Great Planet, even though... Because I think maybe that's... It is possible that is the only path that goes where I'm supposed to be, because that's... I'm not sure, actually, but I know what to do anyway, so... the planet appears to have no life on it. Sorry about the break there. I just had to consider my options a bit. The planet appears to have no life on it, but scanners detect some sort of activity, perhaps the regular workings of a machine. They decide to investigate and send out a party in a recon plane to see what is happening. They pilot the plane to the area of the signal and land on the planet. It is rocky and barren, but not far from where they have landed they find a scout ship of a type they have never come across before, crashed into the surface. Will it tell them to investigate it further? Turn to 176 or return to your ship. Now I think 176 was just a little... Yeah, it didn't give me anything extra, I think. So... I was going to go to 66. Landing the recon plane, the party make their way to the briefing room to report to you. As they relate their findings, you are interrupted suddenly with an urgent message. Captain, we have lost 3 of our engineering personnel who were involved with docking the recon plane. They're all dead. What will be your first command? Now, of course, I have tried quarantine, because it's not a medical thing, it's a chemical, not biological. So seal off the docking bay is what I sort of got guided into eventually, and so I'm going to seal off the docking bay right away. And now it says quickly the crew seal off the affected area so as to prevent the spread of this unknown killer. No more deaths are reported. Turn to 337. Using an EVA, extravehicular activity suit, your medical officer examines the body of one of the victims. She finds that the man has been poisoned. The planet below must have some sort of poisonous gas in its atmosphere, and this has now been carried back to the ship. Will you get the MO to search for an antidote? And of course, I did try this once, and if you fail, the medical officer dies. Yeah, it's quite brutal. Oh, but my medical officer is really good at skill checks. Maybe maybe I'll try that though, just for a laugh. Roll 2 dice for your medical officer. If the roll is equal to or lower than her skill score, turn to 129. If the roll exceeds her skill, turn to 46. So, skill of 12, so automatic success. Equal to or lower 129. Oh, yes, this is actually a typo, and I'll tell you why. I'll just read out this and you can see what I mean. Your MO, medical officer, comes up with a possible antidote and tries it out on herself, entering the affected area without an EVA suit. Watching her on a monitor screen, you see her enter the docking bay. Moments later, she falls to her knees. Her antidote has not been successful, and you have lost your medical officer. So that is a paragraph I was directed to when I had a successful skill check. Now, for the one that is an unsuccessful skill check, let's just check that out. Your medical officer comes up with a possible antidote and injects herself. She goes down to the docking bay without an EVA suit and waits. An hour later, she has still shown no signs of illness. The antidote has worked. All crew report to the medical section for treatment. So this is a typographical error. And there are actually, I think I've spotted several of these now. Many of the skill checks, the paragraph references have been swapped around, and I'm not sure exactly what's been happening here, because it seems like maybe during editing they were sort of were trying to make all these more consistent, and then they ended up messing them up completely. But I'll talk more about that when I do my Aftermath episode, because there have been, I think there might be more as well. than the ones I've seen. So what it should have said here is if the roll is equal to or lower than a skill score, turn to 46. If the roll exceeds the skill, turn to 129. Or it should have said if the roll is exceeds a skill score, turn to 1. So it's whatever it is, they've messed it up, and it should be the other way around. So it was successful, and I'm going to 46, and I'm going to turn to 11. I'm thinking maybe one of these days I will have to, for all the books I read, I should do an errata as well. I mean, I have been doing, on my Patreon, I'm doing the maps and the probability simulations, but maybe I should do an errata as well, where I just put in my corrections for the different books, because there have been quite a few now. Back on the bridge, you set your course. Ahead of you are 2 planets. Okay, so this is now page 2 of my map. You may head for either a large red planet, which is the same that I was heading towards before I went off to the grey one, a blue planet, or a small fast-moving spot which shows signs of life. Now, if I go to the fast-moving spot which shows signs of life, I'm getting to the planet base, the space station of where I get arrested by the Ganzigites again, and I get to know another star date, because now I only got 1 star date, and I find another star date, and I wouldn't have a location for the black hole. So if I go this way, it seems the only thing that leads to is a place where I have to make a decision about the coordinates for going back home, and if I don't have coordinates, I'm also losing the game, so I can't go there, so I have to go somewhere else. So I've got 2 options now. I've got to the blue planet or the red planet, and I haven't been to those before. I'm thinking maybe I should go to the blue planet. I know I don't have very good good track record for going to blue planets, because when I got to the point last time where I was running out of food, which indicates to me that's a wrong path, just like the asteroids in the beginning, the blue planet was not a good choice. I'm going to give blue planet another chance. I mean, I'm not wearing a red shirt today, so I'm not going to the red planet. I'm going to the blue planet. I'm going to the blue planet. So oops. And that is paragraph 2. Let's see if I can find that right from the beginning here. You approach the blue planet and take up orbit position. Scanners indicate that the planet is inhabited and that there is considerable development on the planet surface by some intelligent life form, suggesting a well-organized social structure. Now, this sounds better than the other blue planet. You try various radio frequencies, and after some time an alien face appears on the screen. Dressed in a uniform of some kind, this creature is humanoid but thin, with a large bulbous head and bony fingers. He announces himself as First Officer Iabail of the National Government of Dolson 3. You explain your plight and reassure him that you mean no harm. He invites you, but only you, to beam down to his offices. Will you beam down and visit this planet, or thank him for his offer but press onwards? Well, I'm curious. Curiosity killed the cat and all that, but I don't mind, because cats have 9 lives, and I still haven't taken 9 playthroughs to finish any of these books. I've all done it in less than 9, so which means being curious is still okay. Okay, as you appear in his office... Oh, hang on, I should be making note of this. As you appear in his office, Iabail comes forward to greet you. From his surroundings, you deduce that his society is indeed sophisticated, with a technology far more advanced than your own. The surface of his desk floats in the air, and he sits behind it apparently on thin air. That's this picture here. He invites you to sit, but there are no chairs. Cautiously you sit as he has done, and some unseen force takes your weight. Around the walls are moving holograms, positioned as an Earth executive may have works of art hanging in his office. To the side of his desk is a screen which he talks into. Moments later, another alien arrives with a tray of what you assume are refreshments. Ayabale introduces this newcomer and offers you food and drink. Will you accept his offer, or will you thank him but politely decline? Well, I suppose it's... I don't know, he seems friendly enough, doesn't he? Food and drink. Yeah. Should get some food and drink, shouldn't I? Yeah, I'll get some food and drink from him. Okay, so 98. So, and of course there's another option as well. I'm not going to be bothered doing my complete mapping now because I'll just add these things next time if I make different decisions. These offerings have a somewhat synthetic taste and texture, but are not unpleasant, and you begin to talk to the first officer about your own world, while he tells you about Dolson 3. A short time later you begin to feel drowsy, which is very strange as you are not due to a rest for several hours. Oh dear, I've been poisoned, haven't I, or drugged or something. Your eyelids get heavy and you must fight to remain conscious. Too late you realize that your food was drugged. As you drift into sleep you hear Ayabale saying to his assistant, "Let us take our visitor to the portal lab." Turn to 127. The plot thickens. You awake and try to move. You struggle, but some invisible force holds your limbs. You are in a clean, white room with various machines and computer terminals on hover tables around the walls. Ayabale stands before you. "Stranger," he begins, "you have a privileged opportunity to aid our technological development." By the way, in fighting fantasy, because obviously your character is not defined by name or gender, every time the character is referred to directly by someone else, which usually is avoided in the way it's worded, they say stranger. And of course that's even in this case where you would have introduced yourself as well. So that's just one of those things that it's consistent, it seems, so far in all the books that I've read. I think there was some case in Fighting Fantasy number 50 as well where they said stranger, I think, if I remember correctly. So stranger, that's basically just means your name and title, whatever it is. So when he says stranger, he means captain, well, whatever my name is. I don't usually make my names when I play these books. I know lots of people, they think of them as sort of as more in terms of normal role-playing games, and they like to give their characters names and things. And I think I saw somebody playing these on YouTube that also gave all the monsters names as well. The ones he fought, he just gave them names. I think he was playing Warlock of Firetop Mountain, which is a bit different. Usually I don't define my character in that way when I play these, so I don't give them names, but there we are. Captain Stranger. Maybe Stranger is my last name there. So, Stranger, he begins, "You have a privileged opportunity to aid our technological development. Our technicians have developed a space-time portal which acts as a doorway between our universe and your own." And this sounds interesting because then maybe he might actually help me get back home, even though he's drugged me and tried to use me as a guinea pig. "We have chosen you as our first experimental subject." He points to one corner of the room where a freestanding... Oh. I just realized that my sound device has dropped out. Hang on. That's not going to matter so much though, because even though I am recording the sound of the cameras now onto my computer, it doesn't matter if it records or not, because that's not the recording I'm using. Speaking of which, I should check that my sound recording is still working, and the battery level is still shows maximum. Right, sorry about that. Get a bit distracted. Yes, we have chosen you as our first experimental subject. He points to one corner of the room where a freestanding frame, something like a door frame, stands. Looking through the frame, you can see nothing. Two technicians pull you to your feet and hold you in front of the frame. Another presses a button on a small gadget and, with a faint buzz, your hands and feet are free. You try to break the grip of your captors, but as you do so, they push you forwards through the frame. Turn to 53. So I'm being pushed into a portal, an extra-dimensional portal that might bring me back to my own universe, but I need to get my ship and my crew with me, so... As you pass, excuse me, as you pass through the frame, you fall forwards. You panic, but then you realize that you are not really falling, but rather floating downwards through empty space. Gradually, your surroundings you become lighter, and you can see that you are coming to a sort of pathway. That's this crisscrossy thing here, with a bit of sort of space, stars, Milky Way kind of galaxy kind of disks in the background. Seemingly made out of non-material energy. As you alight on it, you look around. The path twists and turns, forks and converges ahead of you like a spider's web set in a black void. The path appears to be able to support your weight, but all around is empty blackness. Cautiously, you proceed along the path, feeling your way with your feet. Okay, so this is... Maybe I'm deducing, because it says here it twists and turns, forks and converges. So I'm thinking this is some kind of maze, just like in Warlock of Firetop Mountain. This is where I need to be mapping carefully. So, ahead of you the path forks. Will you take the left-hand fork or the right-hand fork? So, we've got left and right. So, left is 293, right is 312. And I'm thinking, I'm going to turn right. Start with right. What's the worst that can happen if you make the wrong choice? Maybe you step into nothingness and lasts you forever. The path continues ahead and a short distance on forks again. Will you take the left-hand fork, turn to 20, or the right-hand fork, turn to 77. So that's 77 is right and left is 20. Okay. Okay, I'll try right again. I suppose how many times does two rights make a wrong? The path continues and you soon arrive at another fork. Will you take the left-hand fork, turn to 312, oh hang on. Or the right-hand fork, turn to 192, which means the left-hand fork is actually taking you back to where you just came from. That's a bit weird. Or the right-hand fork, turn to 192. So that's the twisting and turning that we're talking about then. So this is actually one where maybe the left and right directions don't really tell you so much where you're going, because now I turned right and then it forks again and I turn left and I come back. Okay. Yeah, okay, this can get confusing rather quickly if that's how it is. But I'm turning right again and go to 192. You soon arrive at another fork. You may take either the left-hand fork, turn to 113, or the right-hand fork, turn to 293. Oh, hang on. 293, that's the first one there. Okay, so with 113 or 293, which is there. Okay. Yeah, this isn't short. I'm just double checking now. So this is going to get very convoluted. But it may be that there actually aren't that many locations. It's just that the way you go through from location to location, it looks very complicated and you get very confused. Just like the Maze of Zagor. So if you map it out, you actually will know where you're going-ish. Well, I'm going to try this one now then. 293. At least nothing else is happening here. There are no secret passages in this one. And no wandering monsters. No minotaurs. Well, maybe there is a minotaur here. I haven't... maybe I speak too soon. The path continues ahead and a short distance on forks again. When you take the left-hand fork, turn to 322. Or the right-hand fork, turn to 338. So these are both new numbers. Okay, so we've got I suppose whether I put them on the left or right side won't matter so much, because it seems that is left or right doesn't matter so much when you're in 4-dimensional space, does it? So 3, 3, 8. Okay, I'll try left again now. I did the right ones, didn't I? I basically did all the turning right, and I'm gonna, yeah. The path bends round to the right in a short distance, or bends down round to the right. Yeah, I'm just going to ignore that for my mapping. We'll take the left-hand fork, turn to 113, or the right-hand fork, turn to 214. So now left is suddenly 113, which is over there. Okay, so 113, or 214. Okay. I'm going to go with 214 because I haven't been there before. Well, I haven't been to 113 either. The path twists and you arrive at another fork. Do you wish to take the left-hand fork, turn to 318? I don't have 318. Or the right-hand fork, turn to 305. Okay, they're both new. Okay, so that was now 318 or 305. Okay, so right hand fork 305. I'm just moving around blindly now, but I hopefully by the time I sort of finish mapping this out, I'll sort of know where I'm going. You follow the path until it comes to an end in front of you. You might either step off the path into space. I'm not sure if I'll dare do that yet. 2, 4, 6 space. I'm sure there must be some wrong places to do that. Maybe I should just walk around until I see what my options are. Or retrace your steps past the last junction to the previous one and turn to the right. So 113. I still haven't checked out 113. I'm going to check out 113 before I make a commitment, because if I go here, I probably can still go back there. So I know that's one exit. Maybe there are other exits, because otherwise, if there was just one exit and you just walked around until you found it, then that wouldn't be a proper gamebook thing, would it? There must be at least one fake exit here, I'm sure. You soon arrive at another fork. You may take either the right-hand fork 166 or the left-hand one 192. So that means this one goes there, or to 166. You arrive at a four-way junction where two paths converge and two further paths branch off to left and right. Will you continue to the left? 293. Okay, so that is 293. Or turn right, 338. Okay, so that is 338. I still haven't been to 338, have I? Maybe I should aim for 318. I don't know. I want to head for 318 actually. Yeah, I'm going to go 293, 322, 214, 318. In the maze, you can do that sort of thing once you know the path. The path twists and turns in space and you follow it to its end. There is no way forwards except by stepping off the path into space. If you wish to do this, turn to 232. Okay, so that is another exit then, 232. Or you can go back to 305. So I need to check out 338. The path twists on ahead and you soon arrive at another fork. We'll take the right hand fork, turn to 20, Okay, so that is over there. Or the left-hand fork turned to 166. So that is 166. Okay, so that means that I have mapped out the entire maze actually, and I've got two possible exits: 232 and 246. I'm guessing one of those is literally a dead end, where you will die horribly. You know what? I'll ponder it for a few moments. I'll be right back. I just need to go to the toilet actually, because I've been drinking so much tea and water. These things do happen. So even in space, sometimes you have to go to the toilet. So I'll be right back with you in a few moments. So sorry about that, but excuse me. And don't worry, I will edit this out afterwards. Right, hello again. Sorry about that. Needs must. Right, so I was at the point where I have to choose between going to this exit or this exit, and I'm going to go with this one, 232. You step into space and, to your surprise, your foot touches something solid which bears your weight. Oh, battery is still good. Sorry. Moving forwards, you hear an electrical buzz and a flash of light blinds you momentarily. When you open your eyes, you find yourself back in the portal lab with Ayabale and his technicians watching you. They rush forward to congratulate you. Their experiment has been successful. As Ayabale takes you from the lab back to his office, he explains that they were able to monitor your activities with their instruments and that the experiment has answered several of the unknowns that they had come across in their investigations. However, although their portal may transport your crew back to your own universe, they would be stranded without the ship. The ship would need a much bigger portal, but their investigations indicate that such a portal will occur naturally at a certain time in the vicinity of a black hole in sector 159. So I've got sector 159, and of course, for some reason, because now I'm actually part of the experiment that found it, I'm thinking I've got a very good feeling about 159 as the most likely correct black hole, actually. So now I just need to find the right star date. I don't really trust 45 because it came from the same place as the other black hole location. The information is too old for me to be sure of it, and also these people seem even more technologically advanced, and even they are sort of struggling to get to grips with the parallel universe travel. So 159, I've got a very good feeling about that. So brilliant. Ayabale showed you on the star chart where sector 159 is. You ask about other planets in the galaxy. He is unable to give you details, but suggests you head for Melini, a mining planet several light years away. You contact the ship and beam back aboard. Turn to 41. Mining planet, okay. What would that be useful to me? I wonder. Leaving orbit round Jolson 3, you search the area for life-supporting planets with your scanners. A small yellow planet is picked up as the nearest. Will you proceed to this planet or continue into deep space? So, yellow planets. I don't know. I'm just going to keep going this time, I think. I'm just going to keep going. Yellow planet. No, I'll keep going. Okay, so we have... we'll have to make a note of the... so that's 154. No, 154. FF04. Okay. Deep space 253. Okay. So there's still some areas that I will have left unexplored actually as I move on now. Sensors indicate that you are traveling past a large spaceport some distance to starboard. If your ship is damaged, you may wish to dock for repairs. Otherwise, you may continue onwards. Okay, so I don't... That's a bit strange. You're given only the option of stopping if you need repairs, I suppose. But I'm continuing onwards anyway. So let's see. It's a 52 base. That may or may not be the same one I saw over here, though. It might be the same one. Anyway, I'm going to move onwards to infinity and beyond. 109. You take up orbit position around the large grey planet and scan the surface. There are positive signs of intelligent life and you try an all-frequency radio message. Sometime later a message comes through and you transfer it to the screen. A grey-coloured alien with a tiny round mouth and flattened nose appears and introduces himself as Kitite of the Malini mining outpost. You introduce yourself and tell him of your mission. You learn that Malini is a mining planet mining malinite, a valuable mineral ore. Well, I suppose the planet is named after the ore or vice versa, I guess. You introduce yourself and tell him of your mission. You learn that Malini is he invites you down to the planet and suggests your crew may well be interested in the visit as the contest. Sporting events arranged for the entertainment of the miners are in full swing. It gives you coordinates for beaming down, but interference distorts the message and you cannot be certain whether he gave you 223.473.85 or 223.473.83. You may prefer to ignore this planet and continue on your journey, or you can try 223.473.85 or 223.473.83. Okay. Now, the other guy did tell me I should go to... this planet. So I suppose I should go to this planet. Because now I don't know which coordinates to beam down on. 85 or 83. Have I been given any clues that can sort of indicate that? I suppose I haven't really. And if it's just random which one you pick, if this is important, it will not really make a difference maybe in the long run which one you pick. Just speculating now. Right. I'm going to go with the last one, 223.473.83. I'll make a note of that so I remember for next time. So I'm going to go with, so there is 32 or 57, and I'm going to go with 57. Okay, so I'm going to go with 57. You select 2 crew members from the adventure sheet to accompany you to the planet. So as usual, I want my security guard number 2. Who else would I want to bring with me? Maybe someone else. Medical officer? Yeah, why not? Actually, yeah. Okay, no, not bringing my science officers. I'm bringing my medical officer and my security guard number 2. Okay. If there's a game zone, maybe somebody might need medical attention. I don't know. Depends what they mean by games. Do they mean games as in Roman games, like gladiatorial combat? Or games as in Olympic games, like sports? Yeah. Yeah, you select 2 crew members from the adventure sheet to accompany you to the planet. As you materialize on its surface, you are greeted by Kitite. Okay, so that was the correct coordinates for meeting him. Anyway, I don't know where the other one. Maybe the other one is going somewhere exciting too. He invites you into his office and tells you more about the planet. You explain you feel that the only way back to your universe is to travel back through a black hole, and ask whether anyone on the planet is likely to be of help. He thinks this likely. A bleeper on his desk summons him to the arena. He makes his apologies and leaves. You await his return. Turn to 287. Okay. You wait for perhaps an hour, but Kitite does not return. A door opens and a hover robot enters the room. It stops abruptly as it senses you, and various whirrings indicate it is contacting its central processor. It speaks to you, telling you to follow it. If you consent to follow it, turn to 195. If you insist on waiting for Kitite, turn to 29. Excuse me. I suppose, I don't know. I'll just follow it actually, because it has been an hour and maybe he'll lead me to Kitite anyway. So I'm going to go with 195. Hang on. So 57 to 87 and now 195, and also there is a second option there which is 29. Okay, so I'm going to go 195 and you follow the hover robot along a passageway of corridors. Eventually it indicates a room that you should enter. You go into the room and wait. But nothing seems to be happening and no one investigates you. Turn to 187. Okay. The walls of the room you are in are bare and there appears to be no door in the doorway. But the boot which you toss at the doorway bounces back, confirming your suspicion that you are imprisoned within the room by an invisible energy sheet. Sometime later, guards return with a supervisor who asks whether you are going in for the contests. Return that you are, or try to make him listen to your story. Okay, so we're taking part in the games now, or the contests. So 3 to 6, make him listen, or 78 say yes. So I suppose, I'm guessing now if you say yes, they're going to think that I'm supposed to be taking part in the contest, and if I make him listen to my story, maybe he'll realize that I'm not. I'm going to try to talk to him, of course, and try to convince him that it's Throw 2 dice and compare the total with your own skill score. If the roll exceeds your skill score, turn to 266. Okay, so skill is 9. And I rolled an 8. If you roll a number less than or equal to your skill, turn to 12. So, turn to 12. The guard finds your story highly implausible. Cutting you off in mid-sentence, they briskly shove you out into the corridor. Hang on. That, again, sounds like the result of a failed skill roll. So just to compare now, I'm going to have a look at 266, because I think this is, again, one of those typos that seems to show up here. The supervisor listens to your story and tries to contact Kitite to confirm it, and that sounds like a successful skill roll. Eventually he makes contact. Kitite confirms the story, and the supervisor, apologizing, takes you to him. So, okay, so again, this is a typo where the references or the text has been swapped around. Yeah. Again, I'll say more about this in my next episode, because I have encountered several of these now. And it is easy to miss because sometimes the result might still be plausible, and so you don't notice. So Kitite apologizes profusely for the confusion. He offers to provide the finest view in the house. If you wish to watch the contest, turn to 310, or you may beam back to your ship. Okay, so I don't know. Maybe I should. I probably should watch the contest, didn't I? Because that sounds exciting. 310. So let's find out. Still a bit unsure. Hang on. 2 guards appear to escort you to your seat. Appear to escort you to my seat? You're a little suspicious as a sly smile spreads across Kitait's face as you leave. You try to talk to the guards, but they are silent and you walk through a network of corridors. Turn to 239. Are they sort of trying to trick me into taking part in these games now? It sounds like Kitait is in cahoots with them as well. Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay. I just looked at the page further down there. Okay. The guards escort you to another room where you are instructed. Maybe I should have gone back to my ship while I had the chance now. The guards escort you to another room where you are instructed to change into tight-fitting uniforms. You are given sturdy helmets to wear and a choice of strange weapons. The guards will tell you nothing of your event, but lead you from the room down a tunnel. Nothing of your event. Okay, so this is a slight continuity flow there because I haven't sort of been told at this point really that I'm taking part in the games, but yeah. Your heart sinks as you emerge from the tunnel. You stand in a vast arena and the alien cheers are deafening. In the center of the arena is a large dark manslayer robot, heavily armed. The door behind you slams shut and the manslayer advances. Evidently you must defeat this robot before it kills you. Yes, evidently. Well, good luck with that. In this fight, the robot is powerful enough to fight all of you every attack round, i.e., however many there are of you. It will fight each of you. How many? Well, okay. Oh yeah, maybe I could have lost someone by now. However, your weapons are particularly effective and you need make no skill deductions for crew members unskilled in fighting. Okay, that's good. For hand-to-hand combat rules, turn to... Okay, this is hand-to-hand combat. Okay. Right. It's only got stamina 4 though. Okay, so... So the robot is 10-4. Let's just move. So the center here. So 10-4, and I am a 9-21 and 12-17 and 12-21. I suppose I picked the right people to go into the arena with. I mean, okay, so that's the robot there. So that's the robot. Okay. How was the game when you were several people? I suppose they all... I suppose now, of course, me and the 2 others, they all attack. We all attack the robot attacks all of us, as if he were 3 people, because that's what it says here. Powerful enough to fight all of you every attack round. So basically it's like 3 against 3 in a way. Although it's only got 4 stamina, so that should be easy to kill. And also this is, by the way, I just realized, this is the cover picture. So this is my 2 red shirts. So the blue one is probably me then. The red shirts are my other crew, and this is the man-slaying robot. This is the arena here, and yeah, it's quite a... I don't seem to recall having any weapons like this. That's a bit of a shame. Anyway, so that's the that's what's going on now. Let's roll for the robots. So he's attacking. So he's got... Let's do them each at a time. So the robot versus me, and then the robot versus... Yeah, so robot rolls 4. I roll 8, so I hit the robot. And so we should be down to 2. But it says here, as soon as any of your party inflicts a hit on the robot, turn to 183. So I'll have to go and check what it says there now. The Manslayer robot has a toughened plasti metal armor, which is resistant to most attacks, although it is vulnerable at certain locations. Each time any of your party attempt to damage a robot, you must roll 1 die. If you roll a 5 or 6, you have found a weak spot and may deduct 1 stamina point from it. If you roll 1, 2, 3, 4, you have hit it on his armor and you cause no damage. Okay, so I did 1 hit now, and I roll, and let's see if I can get a 5 or a 6. No, so of course he has still full health. Okay. Okay, second crew member, that's my medical officer. He should be good at finding the weak spots, shouldn't he? Well, it's not, I suppose it's mechanics, not anatomy when it's a robot, but... so robot rolls 8, he rolls 6, so that is a draw. And then my security guard rolls, no sorry, the robot rolls first, of course. So it's 14 and my security guard rolls 6, so that is a hit. And he rolls a 4, so he did no damage. Okay, second round. Me versus a robot, first of all. And the robot rolls 4. I roll a 7. Then I roll to see if I get a 5 or a 6. I do get a 6, and that means he's down to 3 hit points. Still I'm calling it hit points because I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons when I was younger, and it's just easy to, it rolls trippingly off the tongue, and it's very easy to say. Saying stamina points or life points, I don't know, hit points. It's very hit points, nice and short. Robot rolls against my medical officer. He rolls a 7. Officer rolls 10. Again, I try to roll a 5 or a 6, and it's a 5. So that is down to 2. My security guard, the robot rolls first, of course. He rolls a 3. Very good, very good. And my guard rolls a 6, and then he tries to roll a 5 or a 6. He does not. Third round, robot versus me. Robot rolls 9. I roll 6. I take 2 damage. Robot rolls 7. My medical officer rolls 8, and then he tries to roll a 5 or a 6, and he doesn't. Yes, robot rolls 6. Security guard rolls 5. He's got a 2 advantage, which means that is still a hit. He tries to roll a 5 or a 6, and he rolls a 5. Robot is down to 1 hit point. Fourth round. Robot versus me. Robot rolls a 7. I roll a 7, which means he hits me again. So I'm down to 17 hit points. Robot rolls 6. Medical officer rolls 9. That's a hit, and he tries to roll a 5 or a 6, and it's a miss. Robot rolls 4. Security guard rolls 3. That is still a hit. Ooh. Good thing I got good stats on this guy. He tries to roll a 5 or a 6. He rolls a 2. No injury. Next round. Robot versus me. Robot rolls 6. I roll 4. That's me down to 15. Would be a shame if I got killed now. Medical officer and robot. Robot rolls 4. Medical officer rolls 5. That is a hit. And I try to roll a 5 or a 6. No. Robot rolls 12. Security guard rolls... okay, that's definitely... should do extra damage to those ones, but yeah. Next round. Robot rolls 8. I roll 10. That's me hitting the robot, and maybe I can get in the coup de grace now. No, not so. Robot rolls 3 and mine rolls 2. It's still a hit from my medical officer on the robot. And my medical officer, see if he can roll a 5 or a 6. He rolls 4. Robot rolls 5. I roll 6. Okay, that is a hit by the security guard. And again, I have to roll a 5 or a 6. No. Okay, I think actually I'm below probability now for this one. Right, next round. Robot rolls 6. I roll 6. That's the robot hitting me again. Good thing I got lots of stamina, because that would have been a bit of a shame dying now. Robot rolls 10. Medical officer rolls 4. Medical officer is also injured. Physician, heal thyself. Robot rolls 11. And I roll 8. That is... oh my, that's not a good round, is it? Well, it was for the robot. And the crowd goes wild, probably. Okay. As blood is spurting from all my officers now. Okay, so the robot rolls 8. I roll 8. That is another hit. Robot rolls 10. I roll 7. That is another hit. Oh dear, this is going worse and worse. Robot rolls 7. I roll 5. That is a draw. Okay. Now, robot rolls 5. I roll 6. Draw. Robot rolls 10. Medical officer rolls 8. Draw. Robot rolls 8. Security guard rolls 10. That's a hit. And no damage. Robot rolls 8. I roll 6. 9 hit points left. Robot rolls 6. Medical officer rolls 10. And robot rolls 8. Security guard rolls 4, and he is injured. This takes a little while. Robot rolls 7. I roll 9. That's a hit, and I roll a 6, and he is dead, and the crowd goes wild. Okay. That was exhausting. I think that's the point, isn't it? It's supposed to feel a bit sort of... okay. And a bit scary because I was down to less than half my health there. Okay, so... yeah, I'll just put that down to 9. Medical officer is down to 13, and security guard is down to 15. That's quite a good fighting robot. Yes, good game. If you defeat the Manslayer, turn to 72. Okay. The crowd roars as the robot topples and crashes to the ground. You are led away to meet the senior executive of the mining organization, who presents you with the customary prize, freedom, and a handsome quantity of malinite. You mention your mission and your desire to find a way back to your own universe. He nods and asks you to follow him to the astronautical headquarters. Oh, maybe I'll get some information here as well. Because the other guy did tell that I should go to, did say that I was should go to this planet. I'm sure he wasn't meaning the games. I'm sure he was meaning maybe I could get some information now. So he takes you to his astronautical headquarters and has words with the director of operations, who disappears into another room and returns with a printout. So far as his department can ascertain, that doesn't sound very certain, does it? The black hole you require is in sector 83. Okay, so... but... I don't know. I think the other information feels more reliable to me, so I'll put a question mark there, because I think I'm still trusting this one more. I mean, these people are deceptive, so... And it says, as far as he can ascertain. Whereas the other one was certain, wasn't it? But he cannot be sure of the correct timing. You thank him for the information and return to the ship to continue your journey. So, maybe that whole trip to that planet was pointless. But I got some malinite. I got some nice wounds. Oh yes, and that's of course one thing that it's very easy to forget in this game. When you beam back to your ship and your medical officer is still alive, everyone from the landing crew, they regain 2 stamina. So, I'm now 11, he himself is 15, and my security guard is 17. So it might not be important, it might be important, we'll find out. Also, I realized that I forgot to write on my map. But somewhere along the lines here, you get sector 83. And that was in 280, so 280. Okay, that will do. That will do. So 320. Okay, back to the ship. You now have 2 choices. You may head towards a large wheel-shaped structure hanging in space, which is the planet or the sort of the starbase that I need to go to. Because if you go there, you end up having to check if you got the. I do have a star date in the sector. Well, I will be given a chance at some point anyway, I'm sure. So I want to explore a bit more before I go there. So, or you may enter hyperspace and jump towards a small black planet. I don't like black planets. Sounds a bit scary. You drop out of hyperspace near a small black planet. Scanners cannot locate life on its surface, and I do seem to need life, actually, for people need to tell me where and when to get these, to get to the black hole. So if there is no life, then probably nothing for me. I'm going to ignore this planet and proceed towards another. It says there. It doesn't specify what the another is, but I'm going to go another. And it says here, you reduce speed some distance from the planet and take up an orbit position. Scanners indicate the greeny-grey planet supports life and there are positive indications of intelligent beings. Okay, that's what I need for finding information. If you wish to beam down to the planet, turn to 118. If you will leave orbit and continue your journey, turn to 296. So I'm going to beam down. So I'm going to go, let's see. So I'm now at 104. And I'm beaming down. 118. Okay, at least I've survived quite a long time. I see I've just passed the 2-hour mark on my recording now. And my battery levels are still fine on my recorder, my sound recorder. Before beaming down, you try to establish radio contact with the planet to see whether you are welcome. After some moments, you receive a message and you switch it to the screen. A face appears and asks you to identify yourself. The alien is thin. Okay, these are the aliens here. The alien is thin and white-skinned with a long bone-shaped face. You explain who you are and ask whether you may beam down to meet him. He introduces himself as Luff of the planet Teriel 6 and gives you permission to beam down. You go to the transmatter unit, selecting 2 crew members. Okay, so I'm going to do the usual, I think. I'm going to go with the science officer and the security guard number 2. Yes, feels correct. That's where are we? Yes, you beam down to coordinates in the vicinity of the radio transmission and appear moments later on the planet. Now, so why didn't you do that earlier on the mining planet? I mean, on the mining planet, that's the only one where somebody told you the coordinates, and then you couldn't find the right place. Whereas the other ones, you just sort of know where to beam down, or here you can home in on the radio signal. It's a bit inconsistent. Anyway, all that aside. My guess, actually, by the way, I'll just have a theory now. If you, on the mining planet, if you beam down to the wrong place, you probably end up straight in the arena right away, and you just have to fight the man-slaying robots. Just a theory, or something like that. Yes, looking around you, you find that you are not actually on the planet. You are near the edge of a vast floating plain, hovering in the air above the land. This plain is supporting a number of tall buildings. Some distance below, on the ground, you can see groups of what must be factories of some kind, surrounded by agricultural farmland. You are on an island, floating high in the sky. In front of you is a group of 3 of the lean Teriels with a couple of their children. One of the children runs over to you, grabbing your hand and pulling you off in another direction. Will you follow this child, turn to 4, or make your way over to the adults? Okay, that's a slightly unusual thing, but who's to tell? I mean, maybe the children actually are the clever ones on this planet. Wouldn't that be a nice twist? I'll just see where the child is taking me anyway, before I talk to the grown-ups. The grown-ups will always be there, won't they? So, see what the child is up to. Just a bit, because it's a bit different, I'll just go with that. So, the child pulls you off into a building. There, several other children are sitting. They squeal excitedly as you enter. Leaving you to talk with them, your guide runs off into another room and returns with another child who introduced himself as Luff. That's the person I was talking to on the radio, wasn't I? You explain you are surprised that a child so young was able to contact your ship, and he relates the strange ways of the Teriels. Apparently, children run the world of Teriel. Okay, so I was onto something there. They are born with abnormal intelligence and abilities and are placed in high positions immediately after birth. As they grow older, they rapidly become senile and incapable of performing their jobs, and then they are replaced by youngsters. What are the grown-ups doing there anyway? Shouldn't they all be in the old person's home? You explain your plight to Luff, who listens sympathetically. He may be able to help you in your search for a passage to your own universe. If you wish to follow up this option, turn to 158. He also explains that their medicine is very advanced and he may be able to restore your crew to full strength. If you would prefer this option, turn to 85. Okay, so does that mean that you have the option of either getting help with my navigation or being healed? In which case I'll definitely go with the helping me find a way to get back. However, he asks that in exchange for help or medical treatment, you will have to take him aboard your ship and give him technical details of your weapon systems and defenses. I can live with that. Unless it's another trick. I don't know, I've been tricked before, haven't I? If this price is too high, you may decline his offer and return to the ship. I will still ask him for help to find passage to my own universe, because that is my main mission. I don't care about my weapon systems, thank you very much. Don't seem to need to use them much as long as you're being diplomatic. You follow him through several buildings into an observatory. He has words with another child who is operating a large telescope. A second child then questions you about your arrival. Sitting down at the desk, he talks into a computer terminal, and some moments later, information is displayed on the screen. Turning to you, he reports that he cannot be sure of the location of the black hole you seek. Well, I know some locations. But he believes that your two universes will coincide at stardate 21. Okay, so that is stardate 21. And now I have a slight conundrum because I don't know. Well, this is information that is up to date by someone who seems quite intelligent, as opposed to Stardate 45, which was old information and that I didn't talk to anyone about it, so I can't be, well, I'm sort of a machine. I'm not sure if that might be outdated. Which means my most likely candidates are Sector 159 and Stardate 21. Those to me seem the most reliable pieces of information, because Sector 83, he didn't seem sure. Stardate 45, and that was also something I only could get if I didn't get the other piece of information. So, and which I'm also relatively sure is not correct. And I also don't trust the stardate I got in the Ganzigite base. So I'm thinking I should go for these ones if I survive long enough to actually get to a place where I can try now. You thank him for his help and return with love to the meeting room. Turn to 229. Luff now asks you to keep your part of the bargain and transport him and his technical staff to the ship to investigate your weapons and defense systems. Would you honor your agreement with him? If so, turn to 191. If you refuse, turn to 298. I don't know. I'm not worried about it. I'm going to keep my agreement, and I'm going to go to 191. I don't want to anger him now and then suddenly they kill us all or something like that. 3 technical staff appear through one of the doors and you all beam back to the ship. You allow Luff and his staff access to your computer and take them on a tour of your engineering section. After a couple of hours, they have all the information they need and you beam them back down to the planet. Turn to 120. So that seems okay. Because 120 was the same. Oh, I've not been mapping again. Sorry, I'm getting too engrossed in the book to remember to map now. I'll just backtrack if I need to. And when I play next time, if and when I play next time, I'll just backtrack a little bit and watch my video and do my mapping. Anyway, back aboard the ship, you give instructions to prepare to leave orbit and head immediately for the bridge. Turn to 296. Yes, I haven't been to 296 before. Okay. You train your scanners on space, searching for your next destination. It appears that there are no life-supporting planets within range. You decide to try a hyperspace jump into another sector of space. Turn to 324. Okay. Your crew are becoming anxious about their fate. Will they be spending the rest of their lives searching space for a dimension gate which may never appear? You are called on to make a statement to reassure them. Have you learned the time and space coordinates of the black hole which will hopefully take you back to your own universe? If you believe you have, turn to 216. If you have not yet found them, turn to 197. Now, so this is... Oh, hang on. Oh, this is... this is the same... This is the same paragraph as over here. 324. Oh, that's outside the map now. Okay, so, yes. So there's a 324, which is exactly where I've been before. So there's some stuff here, and then I go down to 324. If I say that I don't have the coordinates, I will lose the game. If I say I do have the coordinates, I will have to make a decision about which ones to try. So I will say that I do have the coordinates. This is the end of the game now. Very exciting. Will I be correct? Will I be wrong? You call all your sections heads to the briefing room and announce that you believe you have the space and time coordinates for a likely black hole, which may be the Celsian void, and emerge in Earth's universe. You return to the bridge and prepare for the journey, setting off towards your black hole. Subtract its time coordinates from its location coordinates and turn to the number that this gives. Again, it doesn't seem like the warp speed thing that I was given has any... That's never come up, so I can only presume that's just to confuse us, so I don't know. Anyway, I don't trust 45. I don't trust 83 so much. The only ones I trust are 159 and 21, which gives us number 138. Okay, fingers crossed. I will try 138 and see if that works. You set your course and arrive at the black hole, dropping at a warp speed some distance from it. Carefully planning your angle of entry and your velocity, you head into the dark void. You feel the ship being taken by the immense gravitational force and order all crew to strap themselves in. Suddenly the ship lurches forward and begins to speed up. The G-force is so strong that you, along with the rest of the crew, pass out. Turn to 340. The other ones were 339, weren't they? And you regain consciousness and look around to find that other crew members are doing the same. You instruct your navigation officer to report on your position and switch the screen to visual. As the picture clears, you can see space in front of you. Is this your own universe? In the distance, you can just make out a large familiar-looking object. Your communications officer shouts excitedly, "Captain, I'm picking up a signal coming from somewhere ahead of us. They claim to be substation Einstein. I think we have made it." Switching the message to visual, you are soon able to confirm that the message is indeed coming from one of your own substations. You have made it through the black hole and back into your own universe. The crew gather round to congratulate you. You have successfully guided the traveller and its crew safely home. Ah, that felt good. Yes, I even got to do a little bit of fighting, which is also quite fun. Right, so that concludes my playing of this book. Of course, I will be back with an Aftermath episode where I will say a little bit about the... I will have to, of course, before I do that, I will have to map out the whole book and the way I do it. So, of course, basically I just do like this, but on the computer and in Twine. And then I will analyze a bit and see what route is the optimum, and then I will do my simulation in BASIC as usual to see what the chances are of winning the game once you know the optimum route. But still, it feels to me like maybe that's possible to get through this without actually having to do any skill rolls or that matter, without doing any battles that are necessary, etc. So I think I've still got a theory that maybe, just maybe, this actually is a book where the chances of winning if you know the right path, might be 100%, and that would be unique among the fighting fantasy books if that is the case. But that is still just a working theory. Now, and also, as I mentioned today, and of course I saw 2 of those today, and I think I've seen 1 before. There do seem to be quite a few typos in the skill checks, and I think the reason is, I'm probably going to say more about it when I do my Aftermath episode, is that something happened in editing. They were trying to make them consistent so that the successful roll was listed first and the unsuccessful last, or vice versa for all of them, and somewhere in that process they managed to mess up the wording or the paragraph numbers because somebody was rushing it a bit at the last minute, and it all got a little bit messy and wrong. So I'm sure I'll find a few more of those in here. Just a theory again, but I'm thinking so. So I wouldn't say that's Steve Jackson's fault. Well, of course, he likes varying his language a little bit, but of course he should have tried to be consistent with those. But the editor has certainly messed it up. I blame the editor in this case. Anyway, so I will be back next time. My next episode will be the Aftermath episode of Starship Traveler, Fighting Fantasy Gamebook number 4. And after that, of course, in my next actual proper gameplay episode will be City of Thieves is going to be my next one. And I'm a bit excited about this one because every time I see a list of people's favorite fighting fantasy books, this one does tend to come up on top. And I did have this one back in the day, back in the 80s, but I can't remember playing it. I'm sure I must have tried it briefly, but I don't think I played it enough to actually get into it properly. Or at least I can't remember that. So this might be quite new to me. And actually, this not so much yellowing in this one. So maybe this one is has been stored properly actually. Because this is the least yellow book I've seen, and this is from 1984 printing, and that's not yellowed at all compared to the other ones. Just compare with this. Sorry, I'm keeping it a bit too. Or is it just my imagination now? Okay. Can't really see it on the screen. This is less yellow. Anyway, that's not important at all. So yeah, City of Thieves next time. And sorry, I've been keeping the book a little bit out of shot now because my camera is higher up than I'm used to. Well, I'm lower down actually. Hang on, because I lowered my chair when I was. Oh, that's better. Okay, so I was lowering my chair when I was playing the game now, so I would be in shot when I was leaning forward. Now I'm finished doing that. So, City of Thieves. Very excited to play that. And I presume that's going to be more like a normal, good old-fashioned fantasy story. Again, this is Ian Livingstone, of course, this one. And, yeah, and of course the Ian McCaig, iconic Ian McCaig cover there. So, which also shows sort of a shadow of the future for him, where he did some of the concept design for Star Wars. Somebody might recognize something here. Anyway, so next episode, Aftermath. After that, I will do City of Thieves. So this has been quite a long video now. I've been through, well, been to the entire different universe and back, so it's quite a journey. And thanks for watching. Thanks for being patient enough. For those of you who've actually managed to get this far, I must thank you for being patient enough to follow me all the way through what is going to be almost a 2.5, or probably about a 2.5 hour video now. And I'll be looking forward to seeing you next time. I hope you'll be looking forward to it as well, where I'll say a little bit about my analysing the Starship Traveler first of all, and then followed by City of Thieves. So yes, exciting things ahead, and of course I've got some other videos to make as well, like the Earl Grey one, which I will see if I can get some work done on today as well. So all that remains for me to say is thanks again for watching, thanks for your patience, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you next time for more fighting fantasy adventures. So goodbye for now.